You can set up Exchange to let your users sync Microsoft contacts and events with Salesforce using Lightning Sync. This video shows you how to set up a service account on your Microsoft Exchange server from the command line so that your server can communicate with Salesforce. This process works for companies running Exchange 2013, Exchange 2016, or Office 365. In this video, we'll demonstrate setup on Office 365, though setup from a command shell is nearly the same on any of those versions of Exchange. Before you begin, make sure you've already created a new mailbox in Exchange to be the service account for Lightning Sync. Then, we'll walk you through these steps. First, we'll give that service account impersonation privileges for the users who you want to be able to sync. We'll do this from a command shell like Exchange Management Shell or PowerShell. Then, we'll test what we've set up so far. Let's get started giving your service account impersonation privileges for the users who you want to sync. I've already connected to my Office 365 account from PowerShell. Exchange on-prem users can also use Exchange Management Shell to complete this next step. I've also prepared the commands I need ahead of time so that I can just copy and paste them into PowerShell. You can find examples of the commands you need in the Salesforce help. Commands are slightly different depending on the version of Exchange you're working from. Let's take a look at the commands for Exchange 2013 and Exchange 2016. Here we have 4 commands. The commands in black type are standard. You'll replace the colored type with text that's specific to your setup. For example, the service account address that you created ahead of time will be found in these commands in the following 3 places. You'll also create a management scope to limit which users can sync. Give that a name like Salesforce Scope. You'll add it here and here. Then, call out a filter for your scope. You can use any criteria you like. For example, if you want only your sales users to sync with Lightning Sync, use a filter that pulls in only your sales department. In our example, that looks like this. If you want to create a scope that includes only one user, maybe for testing purposes, you can enter a filter that says alias equals Matthew in quotation marks. Lastly, give a name to the management role assignment you're creating. For example, we used Salesforce Role Assignment. If you're working from Office 365, you'll use some of the same commands we just discussed and one additional command. These commands are the same as we described a moment ago. One command is different. Let's continue setting up the Office 365 service account. Copy this command, head back to PowerShell, and paste it there. Now in our example, we're seeing a message confirming that this setting is already enabled on Office 365, so we didn't need to take that step. However, that might not be the case for everyone, so we encourage you to confirm that it's enabled now. Let's copy and paste the last 2 commands to complete this part of the setup process. Okay, now we're ready to test that we've set up a connection between Exchange and Salesforce. To run the Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer, let's open a browser and go to testconnectivity.microsoft.com. Before we start testing, wait at least 5 minutes after you set up your service account. Otherwise, you could see a failed connection test, even though you may have set up the connection correctly. Let's test that the service account that you set up on Office 365 is successfully impersonating. On the Exchange Server tab, select Service Account Access Developers. Click Next. Enter these parameters carefully. A mistake could result in inaccurate test results. The service account you set up can impersonate any of your users in the scope that you set up in the command shell. Type the email address for one of your Exchange users. Type the username and password for the service account that you created and gave impersonation privileges to. Leave Use Auto-Discover and Test Predefined Folder selected. Choose Calendar or Contacts because Lightning Sync can sync those. Select Use Exchange Impersonation, and for impersonated user, type the same email address as you did for target mailbox. Do not put the service account down there. Select I understand, and if prompted, enter the verification text. Now, perform the test. This can take 3 seconds. It can take a little over 30 seconds, depending on various details. When the test is complete, you'll get a report on how the connection performed. Here it shows the test was successful with warnings. Warnings are acceptable and don't necessarily mean that there's a problem with your service account setup. The most important thing is that you get a successful report rather than a failed one. So, how do you know whether you should be concerned about the test warnings? Let's expand all. Scroll down to the bottom of your report. Ultimately, we want to see that for the user we tested, Matthew, a new mail item was created and then deleted. That verifies that the service account was able to impersonate Matthew correctly. Now that you've set up and tested your Exchange service account, your Salesforce admin can use the service account credentials to finish setting up Lightning Sync from Salesforce. For complete details about setting up Lightning Sync for Exchange, see the following topic in the Salesforce help, or visit the Salesforce Success community at success.salesforce.com. Thanks for using Salesforce.